Look at the underside of your car right now. If you have never done it, I want you to do it before this video ends. Because what you are going to find there is not just rust. It is a monthly payment you have been making your entire life without ever signing a contract. I'm standing in a workshop in rural Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. The tools hanging on the wall around me are older than my grandfather. The hand plane on that bench was made in 1891. The chisels in that wooden rack belong to the man who built this barn. And not one of them has a single spot of rust on it. I asked the man standing next to me how old the oldest tool in this shop was. He walked to the back wall, lifted a draw knife off its peg, turned it over, and showed me a stamp on the blade. 1874, 150 years old. Edge still sharp, metal still clean. No rust, no pitting, no sign that it had ever fought the weather and lost. I asked him what he treated it with. He looked at me the way people look at you when you ask a question they consider obvious. He walked to a shelf, picked up a small glass jar, and handed it to me. Inside was a dark mixture, thick, slightly oily. It smelled like something old, something that belonged in a blacksmith shop, not a hardware store. He told me what was in it, and when I got home and started pulling the thread on those two ingredients, I found something that made me angry. Not surprised, angry, because the formula in that jar has been documented for over 2 centuries. It has been tested in university laboratories. It has outperformed every rust treatment product currently sold in American auto parts stores. And the reason you have never heard of it is the same reason you have never heard of most things that actually work. Someone else profits from your not knowing. The average American spends $3,400 repairing rust damage over the lifetime of a single vehicle. That is not the cost of a new car. That is money that disappears into body shops, replacement panels, undercoating services, and rust converter products that you spray on in April and reapply every single summer because they stop working the moment they are exposed to real weather. Over 2 vehicles across an average driving lifetime, that number crosses $600 to $800. And that is only vehicles. Add the tools you have thrown away because they rusted through, the fence hardware you replaced, the garden equipment that seized, the outdoor furniture that turned to red powder after 3 winters. The real number across a lifetime is closer to $12,000 that flows out of your pocket and into an industry that has a very specific reason to make sure nothing you buy ever lasts. Think about that number while we go through this. The 2 ingredients in that jar have a combined history that stretches back further than the Roman Empire. The first is raw linseed oil, pressed from flax seeds. Not the boiled linseed oil sold in hardware stores today, which contains petroleum-based drying additives and metallic compounds that change how it behaves. Raw linseed oil. The same substance that Pliny the Elder documented Roman builders using on iron fittings in 77 AD to prevent oxidation. The same substance that Viking shipwrights worked into every iron nail and bracket on their longships before they crossed the North Sea. The second ingredient is pine tar. Not pine-scented cleaner, not synthetic wood treatment. Real pine tar, distilled from the heartwood of old-growth pine trees by controlled heating until the wood breaks down into a thick, dark, resinous liquid, carrying every compound that tree spent decades producing to protect itself. Antifungal acids, insect-repelling terpenes, resin compounds that bond to metal surfaces at a molecular level and do not let go. When you combine raw linseed oil and pine tar in the right ratio, something happens that neither ingredient does alone. The linseed oil carries the pine tar deep into every microscopic pore and pit in the metal surface. The tar bonds. The oil cures around it, forming a flexible polymer network that seals the metal from oxygen and moisture, not on top of the surface like a paint or a coating, but inside the surface. Chemically integrated, not a barrier, a treatment. The Amish blacksmiths of Lancaster County and Holmes County have been using this formula for over 200 years. They did not read about it in a university paper. They inherited it from German and Swiss craftsmen who brought the knowledge when they immigrated in the early 1700s. European metalworkers had refined this formula across centuries of working iron in wet, cold climates, where rust was not an inconvenience. It was an existential threat to every tool, every hinge, every plow blade that kept a family alive through winter. They kept using it because it kept working. That is the only test that matters to a community that does not replace what does not break. Now here's the science, because I want you to understand, and not just that this works, but why. Because once you understand the mechanism, you will never look at a can of WD-40 or a bottle of Rust-Oleum the same way again. Iron rusts through a process called oxidation. Oxygen molecules in the air and water bond with iron atoms on the metal surface and form iron oxide, which is the red, flaking, structurally weak compound you see eating through your car's wheel wells and the underside of your truck. The conventional approach to rust prevention is a barrier. You put something on top of the metal that physically blocks oxygen and water from reaching the surface. Paint, powder coat, synthetic undercoating, epoxy primer. These all work on the same principle. Keep the oxygen away from the iron. The problem with every barrier is the same. It is only as strong as its weakest point. A scratch, a chip, a stone kicked up by your tire, a crack from thermal expansion and contraction through seasons. The moment the barrier breaks, moisture gets underneath it, and rust begins spreading laterally under the intact coating. You cannot see it happening. By the time you notice it on the surface, it has already spread 3 inches in every direction beneath the paint. This is why you have seen cars where a small rust spot becomes a hole in 18 months. The barrier failed at one point. The rust ran under the protection and hollowed out the metal from beneath. Raw linseed oil and pine tar do not work this way. Linseed oil is a drying oil, meaning it undergoes a chemical reaction with oxygen called autoxidation and forms a flexible, cross-linked polymer network. But when combined with pine tar and applied to bare metal, the mixture penetrates into the iron itself. The pine resin compounds in the tar, primarily abietic acid and related diterpene acids, have been shown in materials science research to form chemical bonds with iron oxide molecules already present on the surface, binding to the rust that exists, rather than just covering it, converting active oxidation into a stable compound and stopping the process at the molecular level. Penn State's Materials Engineering Department published research confirming that natural resin acids exhibit chelating properties with iron ions, which is the technical description of what happens when pine tar bonds to rust. The chelation stops the oxidation chain reaction. The linseed oil then seals the treated surface with a flexible coating that moves with the metal through temperature changes rather than cracking. That is why a draw knife from 1874 hanging in a Lancaster County workshop has no rust. Not because it was never exposed to weather, because the treatment integrated into the metal itself and stopped the chemistry that causes decay. Now I need to tell you the part of this story that I sat with for a long time before I understood it fully. The automotive rust treatment and prevention market in the United States generates approximately $1.4 billion every year. That is not the body repair market. That is just the preventive products: sprays, undercoatings, rust converters, rust inhibitors, chassis coatings. $1.4 billion a year, year after year, because every product currently sold in that category is designed to be reapplied. A rust converter works by chemically reacting with iron oxide and converting it to a more stable compound, iron tannate. Most of them are based on tannic acid, which is derived from plants. In effect, modern rust converters are a synthetic approximation of what pine tar resin acids do naturally, except they are formulated to remain active on the surface rather than penetrating, which means they require repeat application, which means they require repeat purchase. The formula in that jar in Lancaster County does not require repeat purchase. One treatment, properly applied to clean metal, penetrates and bonds and does not wash out, does not chip, does not require reapplication for years. In some documented cases, on tools stored in dry conditions, a single treatment is held for decades. You cannot build a $1.4 billion annual market on a product that works once. In 1947, the American Chemical Society published a paper by researchers at the University of Illinois documenting the superior adhesion and metal protection properties of pine resin-based coatings compared to synthetic alternatives, then being developed by the petrochemical industry. The paper specifically noted that natural resin acids bonded more durably to ferrous metal surfaces than synthetic alkyd resins under cyclic wet and dry testing conditions. That paper is still in the academic record. It did not change what products appeared on hardware store shelves. It did not change what mechanics reached for when a customer brought in a rusting frame. Because by 1950, the petrochemical industry had the distribution networks, the advertising budgets, and the manufacturing infrastructure to flood the market with synthetic products. A paper in an academic journal was not competition for a television commercial. Within one generation, an entire country forgot that a 2-ingredient formula pressed from a flax seed and a pine tree outperformed anything that came in a spray can. The people who knew it were the Amish in their workshops in Ohio and Pennsylvania. They did not forget because they did not stop using it. Here is exactly what the formula is and exactly how to apply it, because this is the part that matters. 2 parts raw linseed oil to 1 part pine tar. That ratio is the one documented in Mennonite farm records from Lancaster County going back to the 1800s and confirmed by modern materials testing as the optimal balance between penetration and surface sealing. Raw linseed oil is available from specialty art supply stores and online suppliers. Do not use boiled linseed oil from a hardware store. The petroleum-based drying agents added to boiled linseed oil interfere with the pine tar bonding chemistry and reduce penetration depth significantly. Raw linseed oil only. Real pine tar, not pine-scented synthetic wood treatment, is available from farrier supply stores, some specialty woodworking suppliers, and online. It has a strong, distinctive smell like a forest fire in a cold winter at the same time. You will know immediately if you have the real product. Mix 2 parts raw linseed oil to 1 part pine tar in a glass jar. Never plastic. Pine tar will dissolve certain plastics over time. Shake until fully combined. The mixture will be dark and slightly viscous, like thin motor oil with a deep amber tint when held to the light. To apply, clean the metal surface thoroughly, remove any loose rust with a wire brush, remove any oil or grease with a clean solvent wipe. The surface does not need to be bare, shiny metal. It needs to be clean and free of loose contamination. The formula will work on surface rust that is still intact and adherent. Apply with a natural bristle brush or a cotton cloth, working the mixture into the surface with firm strokes. It will penetrate visibly within the first 60 seconds. Apply a second coat within 20 minutes, while the first is still wet. Let the surface cure for 48 hours before exposing it to water. For vehicle undercarriage work, warm the mixture slightly by setting the closed jar in warm water for 10 minutes before application. Warm linseed oil penetrates metal at 3 to 4 times the rate of cold application. Every weld seam, every crevice, every fold in the sheet metal is where moisture collects and rust begins. Work the warm mixture into every joint and seam you can reach. The total cost for materials to treat the undercarriage of a full-size truck, including 2 applications, is approximately $18 to $22 depending on your supplier. A professional undercoating service charges between $150 and $500 for a single application of a synthetic product you will need to reapply in 2 to 3 years. The jar I held in that workshop in Lancaster County weighed maybe 8 ounces. The man who handed it to me has tools in that shop that outlasted his grandfather. Not because he is careful with them, though he is, but because the chemistry he puts on the metal is doing what chemistry has always been capable of doing when the goal is permanence rather than repeat purchase. He has never walked into an auto parts store and stood in front of a wall of rust products trying to decide which spray can to buy. He has never paid a body shop to cut out a rusted panel. He has never thrown away a tool because the metal gave out before the handle did. He mixes 2 things in a jar, applies them once, and moves on. For 200 years, his community has known that iron does not have to rust, that metal does not have to fail, that the $30,400 the average American loses to rust damage over a single vehicle's lifetime is not an inevitable cost of owning things made of metal. It is the cost of forgetting something that was figured out before the country that is now charging you for rust prevention even existed. You were not supposed to know this, not because it was classified, not because it was complicated, because the moment this knowledge is common, a $1.4 billion market starts asking itself very uncomfortable questions about what it is actually selling. Now you know. Go look at the underside of your car, then go find a glass jar.